Erev Torah B'Tay. Let's talk a little bit about Purim. Let's continue what we were talking about yesterday. So we talked about Matanot Le'Evyonim, how you have to do that. Now let's talk about Mishloach Manot. So what's the rule with this? The rule is that you have to send at least to one Jew 2 types of food, or one food or one drink, like this, right? One and one, at least 2 types. And you have to send it to many people? No, the mitzvah you did if you send it even to one Jew. But they say, if you want to do more, harazeh meshubach, it's praiseworthy to send more. So what's the reason why the rabbis made this rule, this minhag, to Mishloach Manot, to do Mishloach Manot, to increase friendship and love between the Jewish people, When you take a gift from somebody, you love him more, the heart, opens up, for love and friendship and camaraderie, all kinds of things. This is the reason why we want to have the achdut, togetherness, right, unity in Am Yisrael. This is the reason why the rabbis made this rule, to do this kind of thing. It's a very nice thing. But they say that, first before we go into that, but let's talk about what you're supposed to send, right? So the truth is, in the Talmud, it talks about this in Masechet Megillah, you have to send don't send baby kind of food, it's not kavod, like some candy, and some a package of candy, and some Coca-Cola, This is not really kavod to send like this, Whiskey. Okay, so that's not really so much kavod, to send like some. To send him something, which is good food, nice food, You can have for the seudah, something like that. Whether it's like, let's say some meat, or some dish, whatever. A person can eat that for the seudah. But the truth is, nowadays people don't do this so much, like to send dishes like this. Meat dishes. You know why? Because, unfortunately today we have this problem, with kashrut. You know what I mean? That there are different levels of kashrut, There's glatt kosher, there's regular kosher, right? There's Bet Yosef, and you have this one, and this one, and this one, and, always like, some people eat only this one, some people don't eat the other one, you know what I mean? So when you send a dish like this, it's food, what happens is, they receive it, and your neighbor, whatever, your friend, he says, oh, this is kosher? Where'd you buy this one, You sure it's glatt kosher? You sure it's Bet Yosef? I don't know if I can eat this one, I'm not really so sure. So because of all these, differences that we have with kashrut, each one has his own kashrut, so that's why we send more like, dessert foods, something which, just a simple cake, some cookies, some, some chocolates. So this way, there's no problem with kashrut, it's this kashrut and that kashrut, and, it's a big headache that comes out with kinds of things. So this is the reason why now the minhag is more to send like this kind of thing. And also they send, you can send like also one drink, bottle of wine, right, something like that, something nice, good bottle of wine. They say, that depends on also who you're sending it to. You know what I mean? Like who is the receiver? If it's somebody who's chashuv, somebody who's a prominent person, so don't send him something which is not on his level. You know what I mean? It's not for, don't send him like baby stuff. Pretzels, and the potato chips. This is what you send to Adam Chashuv. I mean, the things like this, some snack foods. Some candies. What does he want this for? What is he, a child? Don't send him things like this. You should send him things which are according to his level. So if you're sending it to, like a Talmid Chacham, it says what it says in the Talmud. It says that they would send each other, nice, big portion of food. It's fitting for a Talmid Chacham. It's fitting for somebody who's Chashuv, Adam Gadol. Something like that, right? And don't send him, these baby stuff, kiddie stuff. You buy at the candy store, you know what I mean? You go over there, you buy, Twizzlers and tweezers and, who needs this stuff? Keep that for yourself, you know what I mean? Who needs all this stuff? It's not kavod to send things like this to a person who's mechubad. So it depends, right? It depends on who you're sending it to. You can send it to any Jew, by the way. It doesn't matter. It could be, your relative, your brother, your cousin. Doesn't matter who it is. It's all the same. It's all good. Ashkenazi, Sfaradi. Doesn't matter who you send it to. Every Jew is inside, inside this thing. So that's the thing. If you want to send him more, and to more people also, a lot of people have a custom. They send out to a lot of people. They spend a lot of money on that. Sometimes, if you're sending to like, let's say 50 people, some people do that also, all their relatives and all their friends and all their neighbors and in the synagogue and this and that. sometimes they spend like a lot of money on this. So they say, the Chazal really, that if you're spending so much money, on this kind of, these mitzvot, better to do more for the matanot le'avyonim, for the poor. You know what I mean? Why spend so much money, giving things to people like this, who don't really need it anyway. They have what to eat, they have what to drink, they have everything. So, if you're going to spend a lot of money, they say, better to spend on the matanot le'avyonim, which is really necessary for the poor. But as we said, we don't really have so many poor people like this, avyonim. By the way, there's in the Torah, it talks about this different levels of poverty. You know what I mean? In the Torah, there's like different words for a poor person. There's ani, right? Ani is poor person. And then you have an evyon, right? What's the difference between ani and evyon? And then there's also rash, which is even lower. Yeah, dal, right, mach, all kinds of things like this. So the truth is, ani is like this is regular poor. In other words, what does that mean? He can't finish the month. He can't pay his bills. The electric bill, the rent, this he can't pay. That's called ani. He can't finish the month. Evyon is even worse than that. Not only can't finish the month, but he doesn't have what to eat. He looks at food. He's like, oh, I want that. It's like he goes crazy. Looking at food. Why? Because he doesn't have food in his house. That's evyon. So it's even worse. So that's the thing. How many people do you know that on this level over here, in this area? Probably nobody. So you're going to have a hard time finding somebody like that. If you can, you found somebody, God bless you. I don't know what to tell you, So as we said, right, that that's the way it is with the poor. But when it comes to, just sending Mishloach Manot, so there, they don't really need it so much, So therefore, it's better to spend more on the matanot le'avyonim. Okay, that's an important thing to understand. Also, let's talk a little bit. Okay, so you know what we'll finish here. The rabbi has to go. So, B'ezras Hashem, Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen ve'Amen. Rabbi Hananiah ben Kashomer, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לעזור את ישראל, לפיכך חיבר להם תורה ומצוות שנאמר לחפש, למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידיר.